And we'll call the day on. Hello and welcome to my stream. My name is Aubrey Blakeledge and welcome to Fizzy Brain. This is a stream, podcast, vlog, vanity project that is about me talking about creativity from the viewpoint of a weird fizzy-brained bearded bard wizard thing. That's me. Telling you, those who keep me on the road, which is you, how I keep on the road, while also telling you of the strange lengths I will go to avoid doing actual work. So, first of all, what I do is I split each of these streams into two. Part one is what I'm meant to be working on, creatively speaking, and part two is what I've actually been doing and the things that have been getting in the way. So effectively, for those of you who've not seen this before, it is a way of basically me organising my fizzy brain into a way that is actually constructive and making me keep to my own deadlines. So it's effectively creating a sort of timetable for me to work to, and a sort of, even though I know you guys are all lovely and everyone I've chatted to and everyone who's commented on these streams has said how it's absolutely fine, it's all good, and I don't have to worry about putting stress on myself, but it's sort of creating a sort of a little bit of fire under my arse to make me actually do things, because if I don't have a fire under my arse, things will stay on the back burner, using the fiery metaphor. So, for those who are watching or listening, or however you're enjoying the stream, I stream it on Twitch every Tuesday, or I also put this up as a downloadable podcast, and there are videos and various other things. So please, if this is your first time, please forgive the fact that I talk in a strange way that indicates I'm talking to multiple people at different times, because that's just how I work with the different groups of people watching, listening, streaming. So I do occasionally do some audio descriptive stuff of what I'm doing, even though most of you who are watching live on Twitch can clearly see what I'm doing. That's just a habit that I picked up from the years of radio, but also I've actually found out from people giving me feedback it's actually quite a useful thing to do, so I'll continue doing it. So, just as someone's just seen in the chat, someone's put, is just chatting the best category for this show, or should it not just be co-working? That's a good point. Is this actually not a sort of a semi-business meeting? Are we not just sort of working together to create stuff? But that also means you guys have to then start doing work, and I don't really like the idea of forcing you to do work. If you are doing work, feel free to work along with me. And yeah, that could be this could be a strange online office at 9 o'clock at night on Tuesdays. But yeah, I suppose. And a little quick question. This is the other thing. A little bit of housekeeping still. I do refer to the Twitch chat, as everyone does. For those of you listening on the podcast, I will try to read back what is said to me, so I don't just give you half the conversation. So if you're watching on Twitch, I do apologise for that. That's just how we're going to do things. Because I've also been asked, am I going to try and get Twitch affiliation? Yes. Somehow I will try and do that, because the more money I can do at the moment, the better. Because that leads me nicely into part one of tonight's stream, which is, what am I meant to be working on? Well, I am now a full-time musician. I have a part-time job in a care home where I actually deliver activities, art-related stuff, musical sessions. I teach music, various things, but my main actual job, that is my full-time hours that I do at a full-time work out my clocking in, clocking out time, is now this, as in the stream. He gestures wildly at the camera, and also my music, my tours, my other such things. This is it. So basically what I'm meant to be doing is anything creative that can effectively lead me to money, which is terrifying but fun at the same way. So this means I've been making a bit more headway into the Woodland Gothic record, which is going to be the first record that I'm going to release under my own name. Woodland Gothic is sort of its working title. It may change. It probably, I hope not, because I quite like the title Woodland Gothic. But so far I've been doing some really nice writing sessions and demoing sessions with Mike Wiles from the Sweet Chunks Band, those of you know, and Charlie Brown, alumni of the Sweet Chunks Band, who people keep on thinking that I don't like, and also he was kicked out of the band because we think he's a prick. He is actually genuinely one of our dearest friends and has been friends continually since he left the band. He wanted to become a dance producer. That's literally what he does. That isn't a euphemism for fuck him, he's a cunt. It's genuinely what I mean. If left to become an EDM producer is the equivalent of going next door, in the way that some people say that when their pets die. That may be an accidental sort of coincidence kind of thing, but it's not what we mean. He genuinely did that. He comes to gigs with us, he comes to festivals and helps write and record stuff, so he's still a dear friend. So yeah, it's been really exciting. I've been demoing stuff, writing stuff, and that's continuing to happen, so I'm hoping to have the first album demoed properly in the next few weeks, actually. So currently I'm on 7, 8 tracks that have been demoed at the moment, which need tinkering, more work on, and four songs that are flopping around in the ether that require a bit more help to get to full fruition and go from there. So it's lots of interesting things going on with that, which is really exciting, really good fun, including some of the tracks I played for you guys before Christmas. So obviously, for those of you in Patreon, when the demos are done, you'll be able to have a listen and download them. And here on Twitch, I will do a little Fizzy Brain I'll do 2 little concerts. One will be the Fizzy Brain one, which will be for you guys who've been listening week in and week out and joining in, that kind of way, the Twitch audience. Then I'll be doing the general Aubrey Storytime version, which I'll be basically a bit, more formal. I'll wear a tie, and that'll be for the general population to come and join us and sort of thing. So yeah, we'll be going through that as well, and I'll be keeping you up to date. I'll try to keep the boring stuff out and keep the more interesting stuff in, but we shall see what happens, because songwriting can be really fucking dull for people watching. People who watched the 9 hours of Beatles documentary realised after the first 2 hours, actually it's quite dull watching people write songs, even if they are really iconic, because it's the same thing over and over again for hours and hours and hours. But anyway, so you'll get the abridged fun version. So yes, Woodland Gothic is well underway, being demoed and such like that. I've got to work out how the album's going to be funded to be recorded. I'm not going to be able to afford it to go on record, I know that. I'm not going to put it on CD because it's terribly wasteful. No one really uses them anymore, and it's horrible amounts of plastic. So it's going to be probably more than likely recorded DIY with me, Charlie and Mike working together, recording it in my studio, in Charlie's studio, in Mike's studio, and then putting together, and then the money that I'm going to invest in it will be going into production and mastering. So once the record is demoed, I'm contemplating at the moment, thinking of doing a crowdfunder kind of thing to raise money for the production. Obviously everyone in Patreon who's already contributing will be getting early access to the record when it's done and all that sort of thing anyway, but more about that once the record's demoed. I'm not going to make any suggestions about people paying more money for it until the demos are done, because once the demos are done and I know what it's going to sound like, I know that I can then book recording time and then book mastering time and then production time, then mastering time. What I don't want to happen is, now that I'm in this point where I'm getting excited, and say, you know what, start one now and get it fully funded, and then people start sensibly asking me after 6 months, where the in hell is this album we paid for? And I realised I've got distracted by shiny things and it's disappeared into the ether, and I start having panic attacks. So it's sort of trying to get the energy going, but also not over-promising stuff. Smashing. So that's the record out of the way. The second thing, the Awkward Strawberry Comedy Club, well, the Awkward Strawberry Musical Club, or whatever it's going to be, the Awkward Strawberry Club, that's what it's going to be, not anything it's going to be, that is it. Tickets are up on sale. If you go to Awkward Strawberry, go to my link, not LinkedIn, I keep saying LinkedIn, Linktree, two very different websites. I'm still on LinkedIn, which is hilarious. You can see me with a formal moustache talking about synergy and other bollocks. I might just leave it there because it's funny. But my Linktree, which is effectively my website, if you do Google searches for me, you'll find it all there. You can go through Ticket Source and find all the web pages. If you go to Ticket Source, Awkward Strawberry, you can find the tickets there. And you can come along to our first two, which will be in The Hobbit in Southampton and Two Bridges in London. More about the dates at the end of the stream when I run through the dates and such. So those tickets are available. I've got the lineup sorted out for the rest of the tour, and it's looking very, very excited. So speaking of tours, I am currently underway on the first tour of the year, which is the What Are You Doing in My House tour, which is a series of small shows and house shows where people... More about that the cough later. But the house shows, as they say, people pay a little bit of money, or we put the hat round, I turn up in their house and play a show. And it's a lot of the experimental weird stuff. I put some ideas out, we do a lot of ad-libs and such, I talk bollocks, and then have a tasty meal and then head home. It's as simple as it sounds, and it's a great way in January for me to test out new material, play on shows, play with audiences, not lose their sharpness and such, and also put money in the piggy bank. Something went a bit wrong at the weekend, and I'll tell you more about that in the things that I ended up doing rather than things that I wanted to do. So the tour is underway. The show, I meant to have done two. One of them did not happen. I will tell you more about that in a minute. But as part of the show, as it has become tradition, we have a new sock puppet. Now, the sock puppets have become a sort of strange tradition that's been going on now for a few shows, where, for those of you who haven't been to an Aubrey Blakeledge gig, I now have a show, part of the show where, like a Blue Peter make from hell on meth, we do a little live make on stage, or off the stage if the person prefers, where they create me a Christchurch dragon to tell one of the stories, one of the myths, and the songs that I play. This time in Canterbury, they decided, I think the idea was at first they were looking at creating a sort of a Mother Teresa kind of snake. And then because of the blue and white going around his head, I was told that the name Ebineeneezer came from the fact that he looks like a Victorian gentleman's nightcap kind of thing. So he looks like he's going to be visited by three angry fucking spirits in the middle of the night and change his evil ways. We shall find that out later in the programme, whether he did absolve himself of the horrors of mankind and decide to become the spirit of Christmas on Earth. So this is Ebineeneezer, and he is the latest member of the massive pile of sock puppets that I'm getting, that I still haven't actually worked out a long-term plan for what the flying fuck I'm going to do with them. But yeah, so there's new Ebineeneezer. So there's normally meant to be one per show. I've meant to have done two. I've only got one. Again, more about that later. That's called foreshadowing in dramatical terms. So, also what I'm meant to be doing is sending out the last of last year's Blue Aubrey badges to Carl and Alex, and they will be sent out in the post this week, because I'll explain in a minute why everything went slightly sideways. But, you know, it's one of those kind of ongoing things that you may have noticed with the coughing. It's connected to that, and more about that later. So yes, I've been working on, well, I've meant to be working on demoing Woodland Gothic. I've meant to be promoting the tickets for Orchid Strawberry and preparing those shows and working with the musicians who are going to be working with me on those shows. I've been meant to be doing house shows and hanging out with people, making sock puppets and laughing and going to Canterbury Cathedral because it was happened to be nearby, and other such delights. And so let's find out in part 2 what I actually got up to. Now, if this was an actual podcast, this is the point where there'll be a weird little jangly noise, and then there'll be a message from the sponsors. But as I'm a cheap little shit, I don't have any sponsors, so I'll have to do my own. Have you ever thought to yourself that you need rubber ducks, but you don't have any rubber ducks? You need tiny rubber ducks. Rubber ducks can go anywhere. They can get stuck in any orifice. Your orifice. Your orifice. Right in your orifice. For the audio description, he is holding a tiny, tiny duck in his hands. The duck looks threatened. The duck looks threatening. You need to get ducks of all different sizes to fill your house, fill your life, fill your mind with tiny ducks, and leave them around different places, like a calling card, like some kind of serial killer that uses tiny ducks. Go to www.jesuschrist.com and use the code Aubrey Blakeledge is a massive sellout whore to get a 5% discount on 3 tons of rubber ducks from rubberduck.com. Rubber ducks, rubber ducks, rubber ducks. Thank you there for a lovely message from our fantastic sponsors. Now, part 2 of the show is what I've actually been going on with. And so, what happened? We talked about what's been going on before. So, the general kind of gist of what came in, I just realised there's lots of negative things I'm going to be talking about. So let's start with the positive. Let's start with the positive distractions, okay? So, the British Rail Book Club, those of you who aren't aware of the British Rail Book Club, he takes a sip from his drink. I've been trying to find different ways of advertising shows and advertising that I'm on tour, and using places like Instagram and Faceache and other such horrible billionaire psychopath owned social media disaster areas, to show people that I'm going about and touring, and actually putting posters up apparently is too much, and they don't like that, so you have to sort of move around things. And one of the things I started doing was posting pictures of books that I was actually reading on the train, because I do a lot of my gigging, in fact most of my gigging, on the train. Not gigs on the train, I go to gigs with a train. No, not with a train, that means it sounds like it's under my arm. I mean, I use the train to go to gigs. So, but the thing is, it became one of those things where I actually started really quite getting into the fact that, again, I was sharing what books I was reading, people telling me what books. So it's become a thing. So a little hashtag British Rail Book Club. Sorry, I'm burping all over the place. And the one that I'm currently working on, if you've looked on my social media during the last couple of shows, over the weekend, is this marvellous book. I'm just going to hold it up to the screen there so you can see the marvellous old writing on it. It's A Voyage Round the World from 1740 to 1744 by Lord Anson. Now, this book is absolutely marvellous. It's that I like collecting books like this. I love history and stories, as many of you know. In fact, if you know what I do and know this stream, and you've listened to the stream, you know exactly what kind of stuff that I like. But the thing that I love about old history books is that, for better or for worse, it's especially from the time, this is written by Lord Anson and a lot of other people who were involved in his journey, you find about the limitations of their knowledge of the world and of science and various other things. Like, for example, I've just read a wonderful part of the book where they've just refitted the ship and have decided that they need to purify it from things that are making the men sick. It's like, oh, okay, so they know something's making them sick. So one of the things they do is they realise they need more ventilation. But they can't open the gunwales, which is the normal trick to getting more ventilation to the lower parts of the ship. So the Commodore orders that the ship have holes drilled in it in places that, and if I can remember that correctly, aren't structurally integral to the ship. So basically, drill as many holes as you can, get the air venting, and we'll fix it later. And then when they get to Brazil, they basically send some poor buggers in to completely fumigate and then sterilise the ship, which is like, oh, well, that sounds really forward thinking. In the 1700s, I didn't realise they understood sterilisation. But so they smoked it out, and then they scrubbed it with vinegar. So their idea of cleaning up was vinegar. But it's not this sort of, there's no stupidity in this. It's the technology they had at the time. So you hear these people thinking this is the logic behind it. And you know that these poor buggers were coming off the ship of it smelling of basically piss, shit and sweat and death, and then coming back on to a smell of smoke and vinegar and thinking, this is probably better. And then that horrible period when both smells start taking over each other and being in a ship that smells literally of piss and vinegar. It's one of those things that's just... It's just marvellous. And also the geographical inconsistencies, and also the cultural inconsistencies as well, when you realise the sort of inbuilt smugness of people of that period, of like, we know this, and you clearly fucking don't. And it gives you this wonderful thing when you're reading histories from this period, or any period when it's a couple, like 100 years back, written by those people. You go in with a sense of sort of cynicism that you only normally get on the 1st of April when looking at the news. You know it's going to be wrong. You know there's going to be massive errors in it. So you're reading through going, okay, really? But you learn about their world and what it was like. And then you can go and check elsewhere with someone that's actually gone, actually, they weren't in Brazil. They were in fucking Spain. They just didn't know where the fuck they were. But one of my favourite things about these books is adverts. Because the adverts for other books are incredible. And actually, it wasn't this one. Sorry, I got a couple of others for Christmas. So this one, the best title of a book I've ever found, Notable Shipwrecks. This was given to me by my wife, and it's so old it's held together by a sort of little belt of cloth. And my favourite thing about this book is not only is it just wonderful reconstructions of tales of daring do regarding shipwrecks, it's actually got some of the best book titles for sale inside it as well. So we have things like The Practical Kennel Guide, The Practical Poultry Keeper, Soldier and Patriot, Stories of Girlhood, Talk About Trees, and this is my favourite one, The True Glory of Woman, written by The Reverend Dr. Landals. I'm wondering is probably not a woman, but it's that sort of thing. Absolutely wonderful book, and it's gorgeous. It has those sort of gold outlays around the pages, which is absolutely smashing. But my top book, which has not gone on the train because this Notable Shipwrecks hasn't gone on the train with me. These are just sort of honourable mentions, but this one as well I got for Christmas, which was Deeds That Thrill the Empire, which is wonderfully silly, and has lots of daring do from the First World War, from a book that was written in the 1920s, which is basically when loads of people were like, oh, our son's died for no real reason, we should probably, oh, well, what's going on? And so on thought, we need a book to cheer everyone up. Turns out it wasn't all slaughter. Some of those chaps were quite brave. And it's marvellous books. I love these kind of books. I like outdated books, because you get this wonderful sort of unabashed look about what the world was like, and it's not just what's in the books, it's how the books are written, if that makes sense. Love them, absolutely love them. So yes, the book club this year has been very much thigh slapping and rather jolly good and expertly massive mutton chops all round. Take another sip of my drink now. The other thing I've been doing, my time has been wasted. Well, not wasted. I've been selling so many like Warhammer models on eBay. So again, more scraping with things with what's it called? Rubbing alcohol, which I've nearly drunk about 3 times. I have a jam jar, which I'm just holding up to the screen now, filled with Warhammer models that are being stripped. I have nearly drunk this accidentally about 3 times, because that's how stupid I am. So there's been that. I've been narrowly avoiding poisoning on several occasions. So the main thing that means that I haven't been able to do the things I've been doing this week is being ill. That was a well-timed cough. I have been in an absolute state the last couple of weeks. Not in a major kind of knock for 6, but enough. It's definitely been a boundary. It may not be a knock for 6, but it's definitely a knock for 4. I basically tried to sort of tough it out. I had a week off after I left my last job before New Year's. And also I had my friend Nick was meant to be joining us for New Year's. Nick and Laura, very dear friends of mine. You guys love them. And unfortunately involved in a car accident. They have come out with a few bumps and bruises and a mild concussion, but their car has been completely fucked over. And for a little while I was sort of going, well, I invited them over, so I felt partially responsible and that kind of thing, which of course is ridiculous, but it was sort of like, it was a bit of a shitter for New Year's. But, they're doing okay, and we're going to organise sorting out a party and such, because I'm having a goddamn party with my friends, damn it, and probably need to find out how we're going to get them another car. But I don't have one lying around. If you guys do, that'd be great. But they're doing well and such. But it was one of those things of like that happening, and then being ill after you've had some sort of quite bad news. It sort of puts you in a headspace of feeling like shit. So by the time I came to the weekend, when I was meant to be doing the gigs, I was sort of feeling okay. And then I got on the train, and I had the train to Canterbury for the first show. I was in 2 shows, one in Canterbury, one in Reading. So the idea was I was going to go out to Canterbury, spend some time wandering around Canterbury in the morning, in the afternoon, go to Canterbury Cathedral, do the gig, and get on a train to Reading on the way back, and back to Reading, back home for the evening. Possibly, if things were going well, I was going to stay over in Reading and come home. But by the time I got to Canterbury, I managed to limp my way through the show. We made Ebineeneezer. The audience, Matt and the guys there, were absolute sweethearts. They were really, really nice. We even turned me coughing into a drinking game. And that seemed to go down quite well in a weird, morbid kind of way. Work with what you've got, people. That's how it works in theatre. Where's this girl? Thank you for the follow. For those of you on the podcast, I'm saying thank you because someone's following me on Twitch. Hooray! Which you can do by going into twitch.com/Aubrey Blakeledge. But yeah, so I was feeling a bit shite, and I feel terrible because I feel that I didn't put in the best show because I was ill and such, and everyone was so lovely. And I ended up heading back to the hotel What I did beforehand is I ended up staying, because these guys were so sweet. They put me up in a hotel. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a sofa. I'd be happy with the sofa. I sort of never. They decided, no, I'm going to give you a hotel. I think, yeah, they were sort of worried that they would seem a bit mental if it brings you all the way to Canterbury and you don't know them, and then go, oh, stay in my house. And they thought, if we put you in a hotel, it'd be better. And the hotel was lovely. And I was able to, I had a little sleepy in the hotel for about 4 or 5 hours. Thankfully, I put an alarm on before I missed it. And then did the gig, did the show, and then on the way home, I nearly forgot Ebineeneezer. I had to go back into Canterbury to go and pick up Ebineeneezer before going home. So I used it as an excuse to go to Canterbury fucking Cathedral, because I'm going to Canterbury fucking Cathedral. And I did. I got to go in there, and I picked up something that I've been meaning to pick up for a while. From the Canterbury Cathedral. I did pick it up, and I think I put it down somewhere stupid. Nope, it's in my satchel. Over here. Nah. So this, don't know if you can see this, I'm holding up to the screen, is a pilgrim's passport. These are the things they give to pilgrims who are going to the different cathedrals in England. And what you can do is a little tick chart of all the cathedrals, but you can also get each cathedral in England, at least, I think the Irish ones do this as well, have a charming little stamp you can have stamped off in your pilgrim's passport. Now, I am not a Christian myself. I've realised more and more I am a fan of spirituality. I love what people believe in. I find it a thing that I sadly lack in my life. I'm not in a kind of, I wish I had some kind of faith. It's just, I don't think I have the capacity for faith. I just find it my brain's too logical. But I enjoy how it helps people, and my wife and other people as well. So I love cathedrals, I love churches, I love these things. So one side quest in my life is to visit all the cathedrals in the British and Irish Isles and have them stamped in my little book. And so I've been visiting them for a long time anyway, and I've been trying to get one of these passports to stamp them in, and they've never been in stock, but they were in Canterbury. So I coughed all over a lovely old lady that sold it to me on the cheap, possibly to make me leave. But yeah, so that was one thing. I got my stamps off in Canterbury. And also what I've got as well is that, remember me talking about my tweed battle jacket, because of course I'm holding this up to the screen as well. Most metal fans have a battle jacket covered with these patches of their favourite bands, including mine, which has a lovely thing of friendship. We used to say friendship is punk, and I'm not a massive fan of, well, no disrespect to the punks at all, but I am not one of them, so I changed it to friendship is rock and fucking roll. But I've been adding all my little patches on my thing here, but what I've got on the inside, to make it so on the outside it's all the bands and such and various other bits and pieces, and pictures of David Attenborough and Bob Monkhouse, and on the inside, like a sort of weird flasher / stolen watch salesman, I'm starting to collect cathedral patches, so I can sort of hide them in and go, do you want to buy a cathedral? Because I am an absolute nerd for those sort of things. And yes, so I've been doing, that's the one thing that kept me sane, was actually going, I'm going to go home and sew this on my jacket because I feel I've earned it. Oh, sad shame. But yes, so sadly the show in Reading was cancelled, which I felt such a letdown, especially considering I sort of felt that I rolled through the first show, you know what I mean? And then but I felt absolutely terrible. And then got on the train home on the Saturday after bumbling around Canterbury. Although before I got on the train, because as part of my room included was a cooked breakfast. And I thought I could really do with a cooked breakfast. So I thought I'd look forward to a cooked breakfast. And I was looking forward to a cooked breakfast. And those of you who know me and know this stream or have chatted to me in the past can tell that by the way that I'm speaking, it is not going to be a good breakfast. And it wasn't. It was one of those places where I think I've been spoilt by good vegan options at cooked breakfasts. Because normally, if I go in for a cooked breakfast, and if they take materials out, like eggs, like give you a vegetarian breakfast and they take the eggs off, fine. Maybe add some more mushrooms, considering they're the cheapest fucking thing on the plate. Don't know, maybe. Or if you're going to take bacon off, put something, anything. Because what I got was, because I noticed that some people had been someone had a meaty breakfast which had like 2 bits of bacon, 2 sausages, beans, fried egg, fried tomato, hash brown, and a mushroom. And then the vegetarian one had a vegetarian sausage that was very similar to a hash brown, with the hash brown, 1 mushroom, 1 tomato, an egg, and some beans. And what I had was beans, 1 mushroom, 1 fried tomato, 1 sad-looking sausage, and a hash brown. On a river of beans. And a bit of toast. And it was sort of like the same fucking price. And it's great. It's not. Why didn't you just think, oh, this person's clearly, I've taken the eggs off. Maybe I should put 2 fucking mushrooms on or something. And then I was just there, and I was so knackered and about to sneeze into my meal for the 3rd time that I just ate the fucking thing. Got out the door, started wandering off to go and pick up Ebineeneezer over there. And of course, going through Canterbury, discovered that every fucking cafe does about 15 vegan versions and meaty versions, living together in harmony. People just going, let's just make great breakfast for everyone. And you can have a normal sized breakfast, and a mega breakfast, and a normal sized veggie breakfast, and a mega veggie breakfast, and a vegan breakfast, and a mega vegan breakfast. And there's ingredients that are special to each of them, so they're all different. So if you like eating everything, you can have 3 different fucking choices. And you can swap the bits around. And if you don't like one thing, you can replace it with something else. What a fucking thing. It was like Canterbury itself was like ridiculing me on my way home. And I just got a glimpse of the chat, and I did see someone has just put, make breakfast but great again. Yes, make breakfast, I was about to say English again, but that just sounds the wrong connotations. But you know what I mean. Yes, make breakfast cooked again. Make breakfast means breakfast. There we go. But yeah, it was a funny old thing going through Canterbury, and then got Ebineeneezer. Went. Oh yeah. Before we leave Canterbury for the last time in this story, I just want you all to know that I did post on my social media a picture, the wellest I'd looked all day, by the way. I took a lot of energy to stand still and not look sick, of me holding Ebineeneezer outside Canterbury Cathedral. I had Ebineeneezer on my hand the entire way round. I was going around Canterbury Cathedral, including when one of the priests was giving a little sermon from the pulpit. I wasn't trying to distract them. I think I'd partially forgotten about it and then thought, you know what, I've started, so I'll finish. I was just wandering around. I may have been moving him around, looking at things. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy myself somehow, you know. Ebineeneezer wants to see the world. I know. I'm just sharing my love of cathedrals with him. But as a review of Cathedral Canterbury, it is literally the mother church of the Anglican Communion, as it calls itself. It has a marvellous arse extension on the back with a massive tribute to Thomas Becket, which then was trashed by Henry VIII, who was an absolute expert in removing people from history, because as we all know, he famously removed Anne Boleyn from history and thought, if I can do it to Anne Boleyn, because no one remembers her, I'm going to do it to Thomas Becket. And he did so well. All that's left there now is a candle. Yeah, that's how good Henry VIII is. Remove everything, get rid of all your shrines, replaced with a candle. But yeah, absolutely smashing. Really, really loved it. And then as I coughed my way back onto the train and then headed back home, trying to eat with the wife, tried to make a dent in the remaining Christmas cheese, but we got there eventually. But yeah, it was a bit of a shame, and I have said to Tom and the guys in Reading that I will be coming back and do a show with them, or that they can come along to one of my shows for free as an apology, because I just felt terrible. But they were so sweet. Everyone's been so sweet about it. So yes, I will return to Reading and in greater numbers. But the show must go on. Just a quick look down at the chat. Every now and then, I'm sure, because what I'm trying to do is tell my stories and then look at the chat and involve you guys and such. But and then occasionally my eyes flick down and just see something, and then just Wessex girl, Claire, who could join me for New Year's, said, had a lovely breakfast New Year's Day. Oh wait, of course you did. I made it. Sorry, it's come across really smugly. He coughs violently and then drinks gin from his own cup, labelled gin. And yes, this is my own blackcurrant gin. And yes, I'm loving it. Oh, I now have possibly Europe's biggest domestically owned gin collection. Because God bless my friends. People know that I like gin, and so they buy me a fuck ton of it every Christmas, and I fucking love it. Literally, my Christmas has been smashing. It has been old books with, quite frankly, racist opinions of the rest of the world, and booze. I've lived like a fucking king. It's been marvellous. It's just I've been there with a book in my hand, just reading through, drinking gin, going, you thought what about the Chinese? You fucking idiot. Stop being a cunt and just come home, you silly bastard. But just sorry, I just read the last line of this chapter. It just said, it's just this line out of context. We even need context. I can't imagine the context is weird. So, that his name is so frequently to be met with the mouths of the most Spanish inhabitants of that prodigious empire. Of the most Spanish inhabitants. What? Oh, books are great. Yeah, so to libraries, everyone. And I forgot to mention before I wind things up. So yeah, I mentioned a little bit the Warhammer models and stuff that I've been sending off. The reason I mentioned that is because what happened when I tried to send some of them off. It wasn't just going, I'm selling Warhammer models. The end. That's a crap story, and I apologise for that. And apologise for making you think that was the whole story, because there was a part 2 that I forgot to do. The part 2 was that I was sending some stuff by courier through one of those drop-off points, and I sent about 5 packages through with printed the label off at the library, because again, libraries are amazing. Because I can't use the one at my old work because I don't leave there anymore, and my wife has pointed out if I sneak into the office using her keys and then print a load of stuff out, that might be taking the piss. So I printed the labels out, stuck them on the packages, and was there scanning them, and they all worked fine until the last fucking package. And well, actually, the first 3 packages fitted into the drop-off point near my house. Then it was full, and so I then had to cycle another 10 minutes to find another one and start filling them in. So this point is starting to rain, and when it was freezing fucking cold the other day on Monday, that's how cold it was. So I'm trying to scan it. And it's just not working. Imagine this book is the thing, and I'm holding up to the thing, I'm just scanning it from every different direction. I have been there, and I am not exaggerating, for 20 fucking minutes trying to get this thing fucking scanned. I've also tried doing the thing, you press the button, and you can put your code in, and it will then take the code that way. And so I've been trying that. I tried every different version, couldn't get it right, couldn't get the right code. Did you say 4-digit code, 6-digit code? I don't have a 6-digit code. There's fucking 12-digit codes. This doesn't make any fucking sense. So I'm going on it for fucking 20 minutes, only to discover I'd accidentally been pressing the pick up package button, and the 6-digit code is for people who go to pick up packages, when I was meant to put in drop off package and put the barcode number. And the first time I did that, it worked instantly, because I'm a fucking idiot, and I'm pretty sure the shopkeepers inside, who could see me clearly from their really warm desks, were laughing their asses off. I mean, I was so stupid with it while scanning furiously like I was wanking off a whale or something, that a guy walking past took a pity on me and suggested that I move a little bit further back because then it will work properly. I did what I wanted to tell him to fuck off, but he was so kind and was right. It would normally work, but I was an idiot. Yeah. So, there we go. That's what I've been working on. That's what I've been doing. And also there's some of the stuff earlier on that I was meant to be doing. So, thank you very much for joining me on this strange little adventure that I've been talking about today. I have been thinking about potentially moving my streams to Mondays, but then I realised that Monday is going to be my day off, and if I actually do some of this on Mondays, then I'll be working at least a bit on every day of the week, and that's how you drive yourself mental. So I'm going to stick with Tuesdays, apart from when I do the story time things on Mondays, because then it will be fun, and that's only once a month. Bloody lovely blah. So yes, we're going to keep on streaming. I'm actually eventually going to get my fucking rig fixed, because I'm still using my fucking phone. Danny, I am sorry. It nearly worked, and then OBS started being a twat. I am on it. I will sort it. The information you gave me was brilliant. I've just implemented it badly. I'm going to spend tomorrow afternoon trying to fix it. Anyway, so that's that. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. Coming up, I am still, well, like I said, I'm still in the middle of the glorious What Are You Doing in My House tour. So on this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm gigging. So Friday and Saturday, I'm doing house shows. On the Sunday, I am in Brighton at the Yellow Book, which is a free entry gig, 5 p.m. start till about 7, 8 o'clock. During the day, if you're around and want to watch me cough to death, come and join me in the Yellow Book. I'll be there a bit earlier as well if you want to hang out and just talk absolute rubbish whilst I try and find a big church and pretend it's a cathedral, or just drink gin in the street. The following week, the 17th and 18th, I'm doing house shows again. On the 25th, I'm doing house shows, and then into February there's a few more actual gigs going on. So the 1st of February, I'm at Icebreaker Festival in Portsmouth, and tickets are available from Icebreaker Festival, I think it's .com or anything. Google search it, you'll find it. Then I've got on the 14th and 15th, it's the first two Awkward Strawberry shows. The first one on the 14th is in Southampton at the Hobbit, and the 15th is in London at Two Bridges. Tickets are available, and I'm going to do a thing. If you go to one of the shows and buy tickets there, you actually get them on considerably cheaper. Bloody, blah, blah. If you're a Patreon, of course, you get entry to these sort of things for free. Just tell me when you're going to come along, or bring along your purple badges, that sort of thing. I'm doing a private event on the 21st of February, which I'm going to tell you about afterwards, because if it happens, it's going to be fucking hilarious. Then the 22nd and 22nd is another house show, and the 28th of February, I am heading north to the Pit in Newstead. I mean, it's not the full north, but by my standards, it's the north. But then again, Aldershot is considered north from where I live. So that's going to be going on. There's all kinds of shows, all kinds of lovely bits and pieces, and yes, so come and see a live show. If you are listening to this on either one of the downloads on the podcast, or you're watching it on YouTube, if you come along on Twitch, which most people are listening to it live now, I will be doing is sort of going through the chat, chatting to everyone, having a little natter, talking bollocks for a bit after the show, and I'd love you to come and join me. But if you want to find more of my stuff, go on to Blue Sky, because apparently that's become a social media equivalent of a life raft as the rest of the social media world drowns in its own shit. Threads now doesn't need fact checking because it's run by a weird lizard man. Fuck Twitter because it's run by basically a cunt. Faceache and Instagram, same problem as Threads, owned by a lizard man that wants to apparently destroy the world. Bandcamp is not a social media thing, so that's fine. You can get my music from there, either by going for Sweet Chunks, or when the album's out, the album will be on Bandcamp as well. Search for the Sweet Chunks Band on Spotify, and look out in the future for when hopefully my first record will be on Spotify too. Like I said before, if you want to follow me on Patreon for tasty treats, including downloads and exclusive videos of this very podcast and much, much more, including free entry to ticketed shows and various other things, go to my Patreon. You can follow for free and see what the sort of stuff and bits and pieces are like, and then try it if you like it. Or you can follow for £3 and then a month and get loads of extra goodies. Again, Google search for me on Patreon and I'll be there. And like I said, join me on Twitch if you haven't already. You can give me a follow if you like, that'd be great. And for a post-stream chat every week where we talk rubbish and I get slightly pissed on mainly the booze that I've made myself. So that's all the different ways you can get involved and get in a chat. I've got to make massive, great big things to look at on the chat to catch up with these lovely people who've been very patiently asking me questions and making much better jokes than me. So thank you very much for listening. And finally, for this evening anyway, if you have a drink in your hand, raise it up and put it in your face. Good night. He triumphantly drinks gin with a sense of satisfaction of someone that hasn't coughed themselves to death. Cough.